Welcome to Future Bank Today, a community dedicated to driving innovation in our financial institutions. This is your host, Jim Kittredge, and today's episode is on blockchain, the technology that powers Bitcoin. So what is blockchain? Well, at its essence, blockchain allows people who don't trust each other to be able to transact with 100% confidence. And yes, it has the potential to change everything. Much like the internet provided an open platform that anyone can use for communications, thanks to the framework of TCP/IP, the blockchain will provide similar open standards to transfer anything of value for a public distributed ledger. To better understand it, let's do a quick overview of the three basic building blocks of any transaction network where a trusted third party is needed. 1. You need a common currency or value. This could be dollars, euros, bitcoins, heck, it could even be Beanie Babies. 2. You need a trusted ledger to record those transactions. You could think of a checking account or a credit card account or a custodial account or even a title company. And 3, you need a common settlement process that has a high degree of credibility. You could think there of ACH or Visa MasterCard or wires, a notary public, or even a government office such as the Department of Motor Vehicles. In today's world, any time where we need to rely on a trusted third party in order to execute a transaction, the results are often less than, how shall we say this, optimal. Let us look at a simple example. Let's say John wants to buy a painting in Mary's store for $500. John pulls out his debit card and swipes it in Mary's machine. Transaction is done. It seems pretty simple, but is it? Because John and Mary don't know each other, they definitely need a trusted third party to validate the availability of John's funds and to move the money to Mary's account. On average, this takes a minimum of 5 different companies to execute. There's the issuing bank representing John. There's the acquiring bank representing the merchant. There's merchant service providers. There are card processors in the background. And then, of course, there's Visa or MasterCard connecting them all together. Wow, that's a lot of companies involved in this. And that's on average the minimum. Today's world is expensive, inefficient, and takes way too long to settle funds. And maybe most importantly, there are multiple points for both fraud and theft. So what about blockchain? Well, let's hold off on talking about blockchain for a few minutes because it's really complex. Let's have some fun. And instead, you and I designed the perfect transaction system for John to buy Mary's painting, one without so much friction. Let's start with building a simple ledger, one that has everyone's balance already in it, and let's make it really easy for anyone to access it at any time from any place. Then, let's package up all of our computer code and let's make it public. And let anyone who wants to copy it for free. That way, no one will, quote, own our system. Instead, we'll let everyone share an ownership in our new system. Now, how will we connect to our system? Let's add a few nodes that we can connect to and execute a transaction. That doesn't seem like enough nodes. Let's add more. Now let's add even more. In fact, let's add them everywhere in the world. Adding nodes will be easy because we've given away all the computer code free for anyone to download. And to keep all those nodes the same, wouldn't it be also really cool if we gave a copy of that ledger to every node and then had them automatically synchronize with each other? Yeah, I like this so far. We're getting pretty good at this. How are we going to know what everyone's balance is on our ledger though? How about we put every transaction in our ledger that has ever been done, and I mean every one from the very first. That way, to figure out something like John's balance, all we'd have to do is add up all of his transactions in and all of his transactions out, and we'd be able to do this from any node. That leads us to a problem though. How do we stop something like John spending his balance twice by sending 2 transactions to 2 different nodes, like one right after the other? We need a way to have a timestamp on our ledger for new transactions. Let's think about that. I got it. Let's ask some of our nodes to package up all the recent transactions in a block and post them to Ledger all at one time. But wait, there are a lot of nodes. How should we decide which of these packaging nodes should actually get the post next? Let's think about that. I got it. Let's have all the packaging nodes on the system solve a math puzzle. Something like guessing tomorrow's Powerball lottery. We could have them keep guessing it until they get it right. And in fact, the first one who gets it right gets to post the recent transactions onto the public ledger. Everybody else will be out of luck. Now, these packaging nodes are going to need a lot of computer power to dig for the right answer. Hey, I got an idea. Since they're digging around, let's call these packaging nodes miners, so we don't confuse them with all the other regular nodes. And for solving this lottery problem and doing all that work of posting to our ledger and making sure everybody else has got it in all the other nodes, let's give them some kind of reward. That way they and all the other miners will stay focused. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Now, in today's world, it could take someone like Mary up to a week to actually get paid in our old system. So let's change that in our new one. And let's make all of these nodes work with 10-minute intervals. Boy, getting paid in 10 minutes would make Mary awfully happy. Now the next question would be, where will John keep his money? Well, on one of the nodes, of course. I think that sounds pretty good. But I gotta tell you, John sometimes, he's a little paranoid. How about we give him the option to keep it in a wallet on his own PC? Or heck, even on his phone. And if he's even in one of his real paranoia moments, the kind with the aluminum hat, let's let him even keep the money on a piece of paper. And that, in fact, we'll let that money live only on that piece of paper. That way he can secure it in his safe. If he ever needs it, he can bring it back out and enter it into a system. Yep, I think that would work. Speaking of safe, maybe we should design some great security in our new system. Let's first fully encrypt John's wallet on his PC and his phone. We can also make John's account number completely anonymous on the public ledger by encrypting it and giving a private key that only John would know, so no one could ever decrypt who it really is. That way, who cares who has a copy of all the transaction and balances? They wouldn't know who to try to steal it from anyway. Sneaky, but I like it. But still, someone maybe could guess John's account number, even if we encrypt it. We're going to have to make an ginormous number of possible accounts so that no hacker could ever possibly guess it. Let's see, how ginormous can we get? Let's make it even bigger. Yeah, that works. But could someone hack into our miners and modify the transactions with a supercomputer? Well, since our entire network is working as one, and based on all the miners we have, I kind of did some math over here on the side. And it would take the 200 most powerful supercomputers we have combined in order to hack into our network. I got the feeling we're pretty safe for quite a while. Besides, we add miners every day, which continues to make it even safer. So let's review our new system we just built. 1, it provides for secure transactions because of encryption and anonymity that allows for a public ledger that anyone can see. It's completely open source, therefore not in the control of any one party, which means there's no middlemen, and it's completely resilient because it's really just a peer-to-peer network with thousands of nodes and no central location. I think we did a great job, everyone. So what is blockchain? Well, actually, we just described it perfectly. It's really pretty basic when you look at it from this perspective. Stay tuned for next week's episode on where blockchain will be totally disruptive to the financial industry. Thank you for your time this week, and I look forward to hearing from you.